Hello, my crafty friends. It's Sharon Luska here from My Crafty Greetings, and I'm back with some more Scrappytails. Here's the extended video for the leaf vine die set. I love this. This is a must-have. I know a bunch of you grabbed it. I could see them kind of disappearing out of the shop as you were buying them, and of course, it is such a crazy good price point. Oh my goodness. And there's no snipping dies apart. Sabrina has gone ahead and made the changes so that the packaging includes a picture and that it also does not have anything to snip apart. If she does have any snipping in the future, it may only be one or two. She hasn't said that, but sometimes things change a little bit, but she's very sensitive to there being a lot of snipping. Now, I wanted to show you how to put this together, and she has designed this specifically so that it's not a big headache. You can see here that there's two larger flowers and a little baby flower. This one has two medium-sized flowers and a larger flower, and then this one here has two little flowers on either side of a bigger flower. So it makes it so much easier to get these all matched up. And I find too the paper that you cut it in is going to make the difference. I know I have this in kind of this ochre color, so it's a little harder for you to see what I'm doing, but I wanted you to really be able to see the contrast of the flowers when I place them down. And so there is a medium size and a small size flower. And now if you really want to match these up, just look at the petals, because how she's drawn the petals will give you an idea of how to get them on there. Now I've got this one askew, so that you can see it really doesn't matter. It just looks like extra leaves if you don't get it completely lined up. But if you want to fuss and you want it perfect, you can give these a little twist and they will fit like puzzle pieces. So there are definitely differentiations in the petals that helps you spin them around and match them. And if you just look at them, you can see how one petal might be larger or it has a little bit of a hook to the left or the right. And that's what she's done to help us be able to figure out what goes where. So I have some yellow flowers here that I'm actually going to be putting on this kind of rust colored stem. And I've ink blended a little bit in the center with a makeup brush, and then this is a cake decorating tool that I've just used to push some dimension into the center of the flowers. And you'll be able to put these together quickly enough that you can put all your little dots of glue on first and not worry that things are going to dry out before you can get them situated. So one of my first tips for using this vine is going to be, think about all the different colors that you can cut this in. Don't stick to just conventional colors of a green stem and leaf branch with, you know, whatever colors you're going to do, whether they're pink or yellow or orange or red or whatever. But think about cutting the branch itself from different colors. Because when we think about our dies and we think about, you know, how we usually conform to what's expected, that limits the use of the dies. And this die in particular is so beautiful and so capable of so many different looks. One of the ways that you're going to change those looks is to make sure that you give yourself the freedom to experiment with different colors. Don't worry about what color the branch is. It can be a pink branch with white flowers. But whatever you try, you know, think about it. If the flowers don't work, you can always use them on something else. That's one of the other things that I was going to recommend in another video is, you know, flowers don't just have to be attached to the vine. The vine does not just have to be glued to the flowers. You can use them for lots of different things. So don't limit yourself is my first tip here. I also picked myself up from Simon Says one of these little grabby tools. They were on sale and I thought, heck, I'm going to give that a try. And it has a wax tip end. I absolutely love it for picking up paper. I'm not a super fan of it for trying to pick up gems because I don't know, it doesn't work for me. So I think some people get them and they work for them, and some people get them and they don't work for them. And, you know, I think it's just whatever our personal DNA is and whatever the tool's DNA is, they don't want to cooperate. So this I've cut in metal, and you can see two pieces here, how you can change how you line them up, and it changes the look of the vines themselves. But one vine just across a piece of paper, and I'm going to try and add into the comments or into the drop down the dimensions of the pieces that I used here, because I reused the same sizes over and over. But you can see just this one branch that's going to stretch across our 5x7 card. You can put the sentiment in different areas and have different looks. Now this is another Simon Says stamp. It's one of those rainbow group stamps. It's really, really cheap and it's really pretty lettering. Use whatever you've got. Anything will work if it fits in that little space. If not, spin it around. It'll work in another space too. But here's another great tip. These branches are nice and thin, so when you've got it held in place, you can just put a few glue dots underneath and then drop it down. Everything's going to stay in the same spot. You could use a tiny bit of low-tack tape. Add in a few of your little dots. There's lots of places that Sabrina's left for you to be able to add some glue without having to go crazy trying to put teeny tiny dots on teeny tiny stems. This is enough in this configuration to anchor this down and have it safely attached to your card so that it's going to be durable and last through the card giving process. So I have the Argyle Socks Embossing folder from Spellbinders. There you go. And this is a very old die. Some of you may remember this. This is from Impression Obsession. I think that Sabrina needs to do some curly dies for us. You know, some curls and swirls that we can cut up and add to things. I think that's always helpful. And that again is another thing that's great for your stash. I just kind of cut them off that heart configuration and add them in. And you can see how this changes this card again. We could have just left it with just the vine. You could put the swirls on it. We could put a bird in it. We could put some butterflies there. It completely changes up what the card looks like and who it's for. Now, one of the other tips I'm going to give you, whatever color you pick the vine, if you're going to frame up or add an accent piece to your paper, make the paper slightly darker or slightly lighter than your vine. It'll help with how your eye looks at all of this. And you can see I tried a tiny bit of ink, Hickory Smoke, and I tried Versamark. And Versamark is great because it will take our paper and make it just one shade lighter. Keep it completely in the same family, but one shade lighter. And you will see when I put this together how much of a difference it makes on not grabbing our attention away from the vine. It makes it harmonious because we're repeating that color, but it also makes sure that our eye is not drawn to the linear framing of this piece, that it's actually drawn to the vine and the happy birthday sentiment. So I have this with flat tape on either end, and then I shortcut a piece of my homemade foam, and this is going to give you a pillow front to this card. So it's flat on either side and then just popped up in the middle. I'll give you a better view of that so you can see here. See how it's popped up in the middle? So that is our first card of the big, huge pile that I made. And I wanted you to see that. This is without any embellishment to the flowers. It's completely up to you if you want to add something to it. Oh, I'm going to have to change this photo out so that I can show you what I did put in there. And I'll tell you, all of these cards sold for me so fast, I don't think that the glue even dried. It was just, they were out of my collection so quickly. So if you are a card maker, buy this vine. It's going to be a hot seller for you. So one of the other ways that you can arrange this vine as well is putting two pieces on a larger piece of paper and allowing them to swirl into each other. So you can see how the one kind of reflects the swirl of the other, but I've twisted them around. So you have kind of the start, which I always consider the narrow part, and then the branches. So once you've put the beginning of the branch and then the other branched out pieces in one direction, you want to follow underneath in the other direction with the other branch. So we're just going to snip off. I just want to snip off the ends. I don't want to snip any overhanging flowers. But you can see here I've got a base and I've framed up the With Sympathy and framed up my panel with the vines on it. So simple, such a simple card. And you can do it in any color. Now I've added some embellishments here. Don't forget to get your embellishments from Sabrina. They're under $4 and they're fabulous. I did it in gold as well. And I did pop this panel up. Choice is yours, but you can see what a difference it makes. And that's just spinning them around, but having them flow kind of linear to each other, kind of parallel to each other. I also did some kind of sparkle dots or sparkle enamel in the gold and black one there. But you can see it's just simple here. And that With Sympathy is actually from one of Sabrina's die sets as well. So you can see what nice kind of classy looking cards these make. You can make them birthday cards, anniversary cards, anything that you want. But another choice you can do is to add something to that background. And I've got a plaid paradise, I don't know. It's a plaid die from Crafty Meraki. I will link it below. This is some of my homemade foam tape that I just use from packing foam, and then I add double-sided adhesive to the back of it so I can stick it down, and that saves the planet. You've seen me do it a million times in my other videos. And so what I'm doing is then again adding the With Sympathy, same thing with the frame, and all we did was kept the same configuration of the leaves and just cut them in an unexpected metallic color. So we have With Sympathy. I don't know what it is everybody phones when I'm trying to record. Okay, sorry about that. With Sympathy, happy birthday. It all works. You can make this card quickly because you don't have to cut the flowers. And I use this lovely Simon Hurly from Spellbinders word die set for this one. Put it on an angle to fit it on the sentiment strip. And then this is a Simon Says, get well soon. And you can see how easily Sabrina's products will combine and work with other companies' products. You don't have to feel like, you know, you have to be loyal to one brand. You use what you want to use. You use whatever makes you creative. It does help, though, to see us use it because then you know what actually does work. Because I know some things are a little bit harder to combine size-wise or whatever. So here is a vine configuration that I sneak peeked you on another video, and I added the happy birthday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the branched off pieces. So all I have is the central vine here. And you see what I did where I started it partway in the other vine and then took one of the little branches that I snipped off and added it back to the other end. So here's the original end of the die cut. I'm cutting off these side pieces. That one I'm going to reuse, so that's the one with one single flower and then a tiny flower. And then I'm going to take this one and snip it off, and I'm going to start it in the side of the one branch and then just swing it down, and then I'm going to add back the one tiny branch that I snipped off. So fast, so easy, and such a beautiful design for a card. Here's another thing you can do. The two pieces that I snipped off, put a sentiment in a little square box like that, put the little vine pieces around it, and you are away to the races. Now, I just put stickles in the center of these just to help them look great. And the With Sympathy is also from one of Sabrina's stamp sets that I will list in the drop-down box. So you can see that change in configuration as well as whether you leave the side branches on or not, and what colors you use can completely change the purpose of a card. Now, if you take those vines and you look at them and you say, okay, they have a nice curve. They're thin enough, we can curve them a bit more. How about making a circle? Now, I already have some of my Tombow Mono Multi on just the central portion of this vine. I'm picking the center of my card here using that Argyle Socks pattern, and I'm just going to tack these down. I'm taking my next piece and connecting the one end and bringing it right around up towards the beginning again. And we have a nice circle here, making a beautiful wreath. And of course, it's Christmas colors, so we're going to add a bow. We're going to take off these extra little pieces here because, of course, that confuses the eye when you're looking at this wreath. But if you take these little tiny guys, you can tuck them up. That's going to help visually too. And this one I don't think will tuck well, so we're just going to move it around. Now it does look a little bit sparse, so I'm going to take a few of the extra floral clusters and tuck them in as well. And so this is just two dark green vines cut and then the red flowers that would go along with them. And you can put them together so quickly it's not even funny. Now I've yanked the bow from the Christmas wreath spinner die. If you've seen that most recent Jennifer McGuire video, they would be so good for those pop-up spinner cards. Now I reconfigured this little bow here because it needed to be a little more lush than what I had. And I've taken a second bow. I just popped off the top part and the bottom part, and I'm going to re-add them. You'll see them a little bit later on. Now, I didn't stop with this, and I should have. I grabbed some little dot branches or berry branches from the Assorted Christmas Leaves die set, and I tucked those in as well, so it does start to really change the look of this wreath. You can see that double bow that I did there and how pretty it ended up. And then I've got some Merry Christmas sentiments, because naturally this is a Christmassy wreath, but if you did it in spring colors and a spring-toned vine, like a lighter green or a brighter green or something like that. You can do so many things with this vine. It is just amazing. Now, I added some gold stickles to the center of the flowers, which gives it a much more traditional look. And I really wanted to give you a good look of that reassembled bow there. So you can see the tails have been re-added to the bottom and the extra kind of poof has been re-added to the top. There it is compared to a single bow. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. But again, the only limitation is your imagination. Any color, any additions, however you can bend this, whatever you think. Or here it is on a Christmas wreath from that spinner wreath die add-on. And all I did was cut the pieces of floral kind of arrangements with the greenery and then added them in. I added a little bit from my Assorted Leaves die set, and again, of course, one of those bows, but singly. And then I'm just going to reuse my Argyle Socks Embossing folder again, and I'm using some Tombow Mono Multi to glue a couple strips of glitter silver paper on the sides. It's the best to use to glue glitter paper. It's really, really sticky and it gets right in there. And then I'm using that Merry Christmas again and just a little bit of Tombow Mono Multi on the back of this, and that's going to hold this all together. I hope that this video really inspired you to use this vine die set. And great news, Sabrina's got another one coming. So I will see you in another video, and thanks so much for joining me. Have an awesome day. Thanks. Bye.